Good day. Welcome to Study Session 10, Information Security 1. Introduction. This study session presents an overview of information security covering threats, system vulnerability, value of security, and the tools for security. We will also discuss hackers and computer crime, as well as computers as instruments of crime. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to discuss the concept of systems vulnerability, describe the term malicious software, explain computer crime in relation with hackers' influence, list and explain tools and technologies for safeguarding information resources. System vulnerability. When large amounts of data are stored in electronic form, they are vulnerable to many more kinds of threats than when they existed in manual form. Through communications networks, information systems in different locations are interconnected. The potential for unauthorized access, abuse, or fraud is not limited to a single location but can occur at any access point in the network. They can stem from technical, organizational, and environmental factors compounded by poor management decisions. The architecture of a web-based application typically includes a web client, a server, and corporate information systems linked to databases. Each of these components presents security challenges and vulnerabilities. Floods, fires, power failures, and other electrical problems can cause disruptions at any point in the network. It is possible to access data flowing over networks, steal valuable data during transmission, or alter messages without authorization. Radiation may disrupt a network at various points as well. Intruders can launch denial of service attacks or malicious software to disrupt the operation of websites. Those capable of penetrating corporate systems can destroy or alter corporate data stored in databases or files. Systems malfunction if computer hardware breaks down, is not configured properly, or is damaged by improper use or criminal acts, errors in programming, improper installation, or unauthorized changes caused computer software to fail. Power failures, floods, fires, or other natural disasters can also disrupt computer systems. Domestic or offshore partnering with another company adds to system vulnerability if valuable information resides on networks and computers outside the organization's control. Without strong safeguards, valuable data could be lost, destroyed, or could fall into the wrong hands, revealing important trade secrets or information that violates personal privacy. The popularity of handheld mobile devices for business computing adds to these woes. Portability makes cell phones, smartphones, and tablets computers easy to lose or steal. Smartphones share the same security weaknesses as other internet devices and are vulnerable to malicious software and penetration from outsiders. A fixed internet address creates a fixed target for hackers. Telephone service based on internet technology is more vulnerable than the switched voice network if it does not run over a secure private network. Most voice over IP, VoIP traffic over the public internet is not encrypted. So anyone with a network can listen in on conversations. Hackers can intercept conversations or shut down voice service by flooding servers supporting VoIP with bogus traffic. Vulnerability has also increased from widespread use of email, instant messaging, IM, and peer-to-peer file sharing programs. Email may contain attachments that serve as springboards for malicious software or unauthorized access to internal corporate systems. Malicious software. Malicious software programs are referred to as malware and include a variety of threats, such as computer viruses, worms, and Trojan horses. A computer virus is a rogue software program that attacks itself to other software programs or data files in order to be executed, usually without user knowledge or permission. Most computer viruses deliver a payload. The payload may be relatively benign, such as the instructions to display a message or image, or it may be highly destructive, destroying programs or data, clogging computer memory, reformatting a computer's hard drive, or causing programs to run improperly. Worms destroy data and programs as well as disrupt or even halt the operation of computer networks. Worms and viruses are often spread over the internet from files of downloaded software, from files attached to email transmissions, or from compromised email messages or instant messaging. Viruses have also invaded computerized information systems from infected disks or infected machines. Email worms are currently the most problematic. Malware targeting mobile devices is not as extensive as that targeting computers, but is spreading nonetheless using email, text messages, Bluetooth, and file downloads from the web via Wi-Fi or cellular networks. There are now more than 200 viruses and worms targeting mobile phones, such as Cabir, ComWarrior, Frontal A, and IKB. Frontal A installs a corrupted file that causes phone failure and prevents the user from rebooting, while IKB turns jailbroken iPhones into botnet-controlled devices. Hackers and computer crime. A hacker is an individual who intends to gain unauthorized access to a computer system. Within the hacking community, the term cracker is typically used to denote a hacker with criminal intent. Although in the public press, the terms hacker and cracker are used interchangeably. Hackers and crackers gain unauthorized access by finding weaknesses in the security protections employed by websites and computer systems, often taking advantage of various features of the internet that make it an open system that is easy to use. Hacker activities have broadened beyond mere system intrusion to include theft of goods and information, as well as system damage and cyber vandalism. The international disruption, defacement, or even destruction of a website or corporate information system. Spoofing and sniffing hackers attempting to hide their true identities often spoof or misrepresent themselves by using fake email addresses or masquerading as someone else. Spoofing also may involve redirecting a web link to an address different from the intended one, with the site masquerading as the intended destination. For example, if hackers redirect customers to a fake website that looks almost exactly like the true site, they can then collect and process orders, effectively stealing business as well as sensitive customer information from the true site. Denial of service attacks. In a denial of service (DOS) attack, hackers flood a network server or web server with many thousands of false communications or requests for services to crash the network. The network receives so many queries that it cannot keep up with them and is thus unavailable to service legitimate requests. A distributed denial of service (DDoS) attack uses numerous computers to inundate and overwhelm the network from numerous launch points. For busy e-commerce sites, these attacks are costly. While the site is shut down, customers cannot make purchases. Especially vulnerable are small and mid-sized businesses whose networks tend to be less protected than those of large corporations. Perpetrators of DOS attacks often use thousands of zombie pieces infected with malicious software without their owners' knowledge and organized into a botnet. Hackers create these botnets by infecting other people's computers with bot malware that opens a back door through which an attacker can give instructions. The infected computer then becomes a slave or zombie, serving a master computer belonging to someone else. Once the hacker infects enough computers, he or she can use the amassed resources of the botnet to launch DDoS attacks, phishing campaigns, or unsolicited spam email. Computers as instruments of crime. Identity theft. With the growth of the internet and electronic commerce, identity theft has become especially troubling. Identity theft is a crime in which an imposter obtains key pieces of personal information such as social security identification numbers, driver's license numbers, or credit card numbers to impersonate someone else. The information may be used to obtain credit, merchandise, or services in the name of the victim or to provide the thief with false credentials. Identity theft has flourished on the internet with credit card files, a major target of website hackers. Moreover, e-commerce sites are wonderful sources of customer personal information, name, address, and phone number. Armed with this information, criminals are able to assume new identities and establish new credit for their own purposes. Global threats, cyber terrorism, and cyber warfare. The global nature of the internet makes it possible for cyber criminals to operate and do harm anywhere in the world. Concerning is mounting that the vulnerabilities of the internet or other networks make digital networks easy targets for digital attack by terrorists, foreign intelligence services, or other groups seeking to create widespread disruption and harm. Such cyber attacks might target the software that runs electrical power grids, air traffic control systems, or networks of major banks and financial institutions. At least 20 countries, including China, are believed to be developing offensive and defensive cyber warfare capabilities. Internal threats, employees. We tend to think the security threats to a business originate outside the organization. In fact, company insiders pose serious security problems. Employees have access to privileged information, and in the presence of sloppy internal security procedures, they are often able to roam throughout an organization's systems without leaving a trace. Studies have found that user lack of knowledge is the single greatest cause of network security breaches. Many employees forget their passwords to access computer systems or allow co-workers to use them, which compromises the system. Malicious intruders seeking system access sometimes trick employees into revealing their passwords by pretending to be legitimate members of the company in need of information. This practice is called social engineering. Software vulnerability. Software errors pose a constant threat to information systems, causing untold losses in productivity. Growing complexity and size of software programs, coupled with demands for timely delivery to markets, have contributed to an increase in software flaws or vulnerabilities. A major problem with software is the presence of hidden bugs or program code defects. Studies have shown that it is virtually impossible to eliminate all bugs from large programs. The main source of bugs is the complexity of decision-making code. A relatively small program of several hundred lines will contain tens of decisions, leading to hundreds or even thousands of different parts. Important programs within most corporations are usually much larger, containing tens of thousands or even millions of lines of code, each with many times the choices and paths of the smaller programs. Study session summary. In this study session, we analyzed why systems are vulnerable, various malicious software, how hackers operate, various threats and software vulnerability. We also examined hackers and computer crimes as well as how computers are used for crime. End of study session 10. Thank you for listening.